Hey everybody, we're back to, welcome back, I should say, to PlayStation Live from E3. We're broadcasting live right here from the PlayStation booth at E3, and it's time to talk Star Wars Battlefront 2. I am joined by Matt Webster from Criterion Games.
Hello.
Welcome, Matt. So hey, I got to tell you, it's just an astonishing project you're working on, and it boggles the mind that it takes 3 AAA studios, right, to Voltron together and tackle a game like this. A game that, may I add, covers all 3 film eras.
Yep.
It's multiplayer.
That's right.
The single-player game goes and connects the dots between the end of Return of the Jedi and the beginning of The Force Awakens, that mysterious 28-year gap.
That's right.
See, I remembered it was 28 years.
Yeah, that's good.
And then then there's a whole bunch of other stuff you're doing, space battles and vehicles and
That's
just
right.
on and on and on. And I mean, the complexity, the scale, the scope of this title is astonishing. So tell me a little bit about that.
I think it's, this is modern blockbuster video game development. I've been making games a long time, and this one is perhaps the most ambitious one. And what I love about it is how these 3 studios can work together. They've got particular areas of expertise. Obviously, we've got DICE, for decades worth of multiplayer experience. We've got a new motive team, but they're filled with people where there's a ton of story experience, and then they're going to bring a new Star Wars. Authentic Star Wars story to us, and then obviously my home studio at Criterion, and we're around a bunch of different things, but it's about the feel, and so we'll get into more Starfighters at Gamescom, but we'll talk a little bit about it. But the feel of the Starfighters, I think you played some of it in the Galactic Assault.
Yeah, Justin, why don't you talk a little bit about your take on what we played there on Pro?
Well, yeah, actually, really quick, I wanted to touch on the fact that, you represent Criterion, and you have a larger role in this game now.
Yeah.
And I know Criterion is known for, their vehicular prowess, obviously with the Burnout games and everything. You guys are really popular for that kind of thing. How do you translate that feeling, that just raw, amazing feeling of driving a car into the outer space battles that you guys are working on?
Yeah,
for Battlefront
it's funny because at first look, you think there wouldn't be any similarities at all, but there is, because much of the feel is what we focus on. It just happens to be around our past has been around a car. We actually did the speeder bikes in the first game, so we began to get a feel like that, and then we've been doing we've been a ton of work on this one about how you can bring that feeling of that fantasy of being in a starfighter, for example, but make it exciting. And it's the same thing, actually.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of transferable skills, and there's also new ones that we've learned in the process. But
I imagine it probably, like, one challenge would be the fact that in a starfighter, you're going in a straight line. You can't, quickly whip around, and you can't, stop.
Yeah, you're in 3 dimensions, and that's.
Yeah.
But we also did, we did the X-Wing VR mission.
Oh yeah,
last
which was
year.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, it was great fun to make as well. So we learned an awful lot there about how to translate that into 3 dimensions and to make it accessible. So people can pick it up and have a load of fun and get excited about it, but to have that depth there, so as you play, you begin to get mastery around the controls, and that spirit, I think, transfers through to the trooper combat as well.
Oh, 100%. So perfect segue. Justin and I played this the other day on PS4 Pro, and I loved it. And like you, so there's these 4 classes now. That's something that's new, building on the foundation that the original Battlefront laid out there a few years ago. But there's 4 classes. There's a heavy, there's assault,
specialist,
and then officer.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, we had a conversation the other day where you said you're kind of an officer guy.
Yeah.
And the officer kind of hangs in the background, gets folks kind of clumping in on him because he can kind of boost their healing rate.
Yeah, he has that rallying cry.
He has a rallying cry that's really satisfying to use. He can lay turrets, and his little laser or his blaster pistol is actually pretty powerful. So I loved what I played. I thought it had a terrific feel that really advanced on what we saw back in 2014 with the original game.
Yeah, it did. I think it translates across the classes as well. I think we obviously have the assault class, which is your regular trooper on the front line, and they're kind of then the heavy, they kind of work hand in hand together. The heavy's a little less mobile, but just got a ton of firepower.
Yeah.
And then the specialist, a bit more mid to longer range combat.
Traps and sniping and
yeah,
all of that.
that's right. And then the officer, as you said, that support class. And that's the fun. There's something for different types of players. This is Star Wars, you know, and it's just a broad audience.
And I want
to got something for them.
I want to point out here too. Sorry to interrupt you, but we were just seeing the clone Jump Trooper.
Yeah,
and so they have these. I think we're going to see a hero pop onto the scene here shortly. But what's cool is the heroes. It's in the other game. It was like these power-ups you would pick up.
Yep.
And everyone loved getting them, right? In this game, it's a more strategic choice. You earn these battle points and you choose what to spend it on. So tell us a little bit about that.
You've got a tactical choice there, which is, you know, it was very straightforward. You pick up the token and you become a hero or you become a vehicle. But you know that led to some downsides there, and we wanted to broaden that out for players and make it more, you know, sort of a fantasy that more players can have during a particular round. And so everything that you do in the game is earning you battle points.
Here we see.
That's right. Here you go. You can see it. You can then choose to spend those battle points, you know, coming in as a vehicle. So you see the V-wing here,
nice.
Or you can come in as one of the like a special character, which bridges between the troopers that you have and then the iconic heroes.
Kind of like an elite trooper of sorts.
Yeah, that's right. And what we have is, and it gives you that tactical choice. So, do I spend my battle points? Do I hold them?
Yeah.
And you know, obviously the heroes are expensive.
Get that clone jump trooper.
Yeah, that's right. And maybe I'll earn faster off that, or I'll save it and go for one of the heroes.
Yeah.
So
one of the strategies that
that's a good strategy. Speaking of strategy.
That was my strategy right there. One strategy that I found really useful, because I'm not the best at shooters, so, you know, I wasn't as proficient at, you know, getting headshots and, you know, taking out a lot of guys in one life and everything. So I played as the heavy, and I pulled up that shield a lot, because the heavy has the skill where as he takes damage, he racks up more battle points. So I would pull up that shield and still try to take pot shots at people and everything.
Well, the thing I love about the heavy is, you know, rocking into this mode and just laying down fire. It's
Sentry
so
mode,
satisfying.
And that's actually a great point, too. These classes, it's not just like the abilities are quite distinct. And they're mapped to L1, R1, and then L and R1, L1 and R1 at the same time. And there's cooldowns associated with it. So it might be grenades, it might be, or thermal chargers. What are thermal
detonators?
Thermal detonators. I was close. And, you know, but it's also stuff like sentry mode for the heavy, where you're just withering firepower for, you know, 10, 20 seconds.
But those abilities are all customizable as well.
Oh, really?
And that's a big change from the last game. So you have star cards for all of your troopers, your heroes, and your starfighters can all be customized with when you collect star cards. And the star cards, they have 3 base abilities for each of these troopers and each of the starfighters and the heroes. And then you can then customize and change the extent of those abilities. So there's a lot more depth within for players to collect and to really change up how they're playing with a particular trooper or a particular hero.
Now, as if this game wasn't ambitious enough, I know you folks have very big plans for, you know, kind of live services.
That's right, yeah.
So basically, this game's going to launch in November. It's going to come out, and then it's going to start evolving. You guys are going to have new content. You're going to have events. In fact, one of the first pieces of new content you're going to have relates to The Last Jedi coming out this December.
That's right. So we announced at the weekend the first, we call them seasons. I think a season's going to be multiple weeks where we can release new content for free. We will also do other ways in which we can change up parts of the game and just to engage with players on a more frequent basis. So the really cool thing about having that free content is that obviously everyone can continue to play together. So in December we're Finn, you know, so it's great. We got that tweet from John Boyega. Yeah. It's great to be able to give him a new Star Wars story. But so he's also going to, you know, come and get involved as one of our playable heroes alongside Captain Phasma. And then we, if you remember from the Last Jedi teaser trailer, we have the planet Crate. So we have an experience there as well, and Dakar too. So that's a really exciting way, and I think it's sort of is a new way in which, you know, it's such a huge universe that we get to play in. It's a great way in which we can continue to evolve the game over time.
I gotta say, we've been talking a lot about the multiplayer, which plays fantastic. It feels really good to play. I'm actually really excited about the single-player campaign, though, which is something that the first game didn't have. People are very excited about it. Obviously, like Sid mentioned, it bridges that gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. And Janina, who is playing the part of Iden Versio, just looks to be bringing so much energy and charisma to that role, so much that she was able to host that segment during EA Play the other day.
Yeah, it was great.
And she was fantastic.
Yeah, that's yeah, she's great. This is a new, this is an authentic Star Wars story, so it's fantastic. The team at Motive worked really closely with the Lucas Story Group. You know, again, very much thinking about how can we tell a story inside that time frame, you know, and it also brings a few threads together. You know, I don't know if you familiar with things like Shattered Empire, but the things that Lucas were publishing on the lead up to The Force Awakens began to feel little bits of detail in there. So it's actually great that we can take some of that one. So the Sentinel, the droid that delivers the Emperor's sort of dying wishes. You know, it's a powerful moment for us to bring that in. But yeah, and it's a fresh perspective. You know, what if, you know, when the Death Star 2 explodes, that's a catastrophic event rather than, you know, a celebration with Ewoks.
How much of those story beats came from Lucas, and how many of them were just the team writing the story? How much of it was them just saying, like, let's see if Lucas will let us do this?
Yeah, well I think no, it's way more collaborative than that actually. And yeah, we have an awesome relationship with Lucas. We connect daily because you have to, right? Because not only is it a beloved property, but there's also things that we need to know. You know, the game camera goes in places that the movie camera's never been. You know, we're looking at the inside of the palace here, and well, how is it laid out, and what does it look like, and you know, what are those things. There's only so much that the movies tell you, and you need to go and work some of these things out, and that's why you have a really close collaborative relationship with that group. Across all of Lucasfilm, so it was a collaborative effort. Obviously, the team had some pretty clear ideas, and then they worked it through with the story team.
Awesome,
that's great.
I'm super excited.
I want to just on the single player front, I got a chance to see maybe about 10 minutes of that. Actually, running on PS4 Pro, if you can believe it, looked incredible. I want to say that right off the bat. I mean, it was visually spectacular, and I mean, you guys got like 5 months to go, so I mean. That's a promising sign, I'd say. But what really struck me about it was it seemed like to be a piece very early in the game. And it was Iden fending off a rebel attack. And again, that shift in perspective is very different. Iden's cracking jokes and kind of making fun of them a little bit. And the whole dramatic tension is flipped. So you sort of like you sort of look at the rebels as jerks, the way it's all set up. But what I loved about it was the pacing. And I've had a lot of good things to say to the team about this, but it feels like a Star Wars game, like a real one.
Yeah.
You know, the vibe is right, the banter is right, the speed is right. You know, it was literally jumping into the cockpit of a TIE fighter, mopping up all these Resistance fighters, flying up into the docking bay of a larger rebellion ship, and then just shredding this thing, hopping out to go on foot into a giant first-person shooter. I mean, and it was not a load time to be seen. I mean, I thought it was remarkable. So
yeah, it's a fantastic job. There's a ton of variety in there. You know, the point about Iden is she's a leader of Imperial Special Forces, and it's not just awesome troopers with blasters. They're amazing starfighter pilots, as you would expect. But yeah, I think the thing that we've heard is you know, when people start blasting rebels, they kind of think, I don't know, does this? And then, you know, much how you fall in love with Vader and Maul in particular for me is I've got a total man crush on Maul, or even Kylo. You know, people fall in love with the bad guys in Star Wars, and so you kind of get over laying waste to the rebels pretty quickly.
It's time. It's time.
Well, like in that the reveal trailer, there's that one shot where it shows Luke Skywalker, and he looks over his shoulder, and he looks like a bad guy. It's kind of weird. Like, we're seeing things from the Imperial side. It feels
it's a fresh perspective, and it's really exciting to be able to, those things that the team there at Motive are creating there, that's now authentic Star Wars story.
Fantastic.
Well, I give you guys a lot of credit. It's a huge project. Try and get some sleep. Stay well hydrated over the next 5 months while you continue finishing this title up. But hey, thank you so much for all the insight into Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's coming out this November.
That's right.
And we got a lot more coming on PlayStation Live from E3, so stay with us.
PlayStation